Welcome to College Briefing. The content of the briefing includes: in our competitive school culture, students with a disability take second place. Homelessness explodes in Canada as rents, housing prices soar. America's non-religious are a growing, diverse phenomenon. They really don't like organized religion. Am I in danger of becoming a workplace lifer? Where are European mortgage holders most exposed to higher rates? In our competitive school culture, students with a disability take second place. The Sydney Morning Herald. The Disability Royal Commission has called for greater inclusion of students with disabilities in mainstream schools in Australia. The commissioners have suggested that special schools be phased out, with students integrated into mainstream schools alongside their teachers. However, concerns have been raised that not all schools would be willing or able to accommodate students with disabilities. The education system in Australia is driven by a culture of choice and competition, with many schools having enrollment barriers that prevent the inclusion of students with disabilities. Homelessness explodes in Canada as rents, housing prices soar. South China Morning Post. Canada is experiencing a surge in homelessness with tens of thousands of people priced out of rental and real estate markets. Government data is vastly underestimating the number of homeless across Canada, with the social issue spreading from major cities to small towns. In Quebec, 1 in 2 homeless people can be found in rural parts of the eastern province instead of mainly in Montreal as in the past. The city of Granby in Quebec has seen the number of homeless people increase by 44% between 2018 and 2022, according to a government report. America's non-religious are a growing, diverse phenomenon. They really don't like organized religion. The Toronto Star. The rise of the knowns, or those who claim no religious affiliation, is reshaping America's religious landscape. According to a survey by the Associated Press NORC Center for Public Affairs Research, 30% of U.S. adults claim no religious affiliation. Other surveys have shown that the knowns have been steadily increasing for the past 3 decades. The knowns include atheists, agnostics, and those who identify as nothing in particular. They span various demographics and have different relationships with belief and non-belief. However, a common trait among knowns is a dislike of organized religion and its leaders, as well as its politics and social stances. The knowns are not just a statistic but real people with unique beliefs and relationships to the meaning of life. Many knowns identify as spiritual but not religious and embrace a range of spiritual beliefs and practices. While they may not subscribe to organized religion, they still practice their own type of spirituality. The knowns are well represented in every age group, but especially among young adults. They are finding community and support outside of religious congregations and are happy to leave religion behind, particularly in toxic situations. However, scholars are concerned that as people pull away from congregations, they may be losing sources of communal support. Despite this, knowns are finding community elsewhere, such as in secular homeschooling groups or 12-step sobriety programs. Overall, the rise of the knowns is a significant trend in U.S. religion, with implications for the future of religious practice and belief in the country. Am I in danger of becoming a workplace lifer? Financial Times. The writer of this letter is concerned about becoming too specialized in their current role and wants to know when it's time to broaden their horizons. They have been working for a medium-sized firm for 7 years and feel like they are expected to manage the regulatory and legal framework for the operation on their own. They are well known in their industry and have a lot of authority and autonomy in their job, but they worry that what they are learning may not be applicable elsewhere. They are seeking advice on when it's time to move on and explore new opportunities. Where are European mortgage holders most exposed to higher rates? Financial Times. Borrowers across Europe are feeling the impact of rising central bank interest rates as their mortgage payments soar. The Financial Times has analyzed the countries most exposed to higher rates and found that the UK is among the most vulnerable. The UK has higher rates than the European Central Bank and a high number of short-term fixed-rate deals that are set to roll off this year. Although the UK would have been even more vulnerable 2 decades ago, today's market is more protected as the proportion of mortgages on a variable rate has fallen from 70% to 13% since 2003. In France, borrowers have greater protection from higher rates as their mortgages tend to be fixed for decades at a time. Less than 5% of French mortgages track policy rates and there is a cap on interest rates that banks can charge. However, this has led to a drop in new home loans. Spanish borrowers, on the other hand, with 75% of their 5.5 million outstanding mortgages variable rate, are freaking out, according to Ricard Garriga, chief executive of Triatica. However, a new mortgage law has made it easier for consumers to move to a different lender, and the nature of the products on offer is also changing, with mixed fixed and variable rate mortgages becoming more popular. In Germany, where borrowers prefer longer maturity mortgages, property prices have fallen by 10% over the past year. The rise in financing costs has made high loan-to-value loans rarer, and there has been a shift away from long-term loans. In Italy, where homeowners prefer to purchase homes in cash, the risk of rising borrowing costs is removed. However, homeowners with variable rate loans are struggling with higher mortgage costs, with €6.8 billion, $7.5 billion, of mortgage installments missed in March. In the Netherlands, variable rate and short-term mortgages have become more popular, and property prices have surged by almost 50% since 2015. The US may no longer avoid a recession. Financial Times. The recent rise in interest rates, oil prices, and the strength of the dollar is causing the financial market consensus on US economic growth to shift away from the idea of a soft landing. This shift threatens the strong US economy, undermines financial stability, and exports volatility to the rest of the world. The rise in yields has led to higher borrowing rates, more costly financing, and a more complicated exit from an unsustainable monetary policy regime for Japan. The risk of higher inflation for a broader range of goods and services also increases. China-Australia decoupling impossible, classified studies conclude. South China Morning Post. Australian authorities have conducted 3 internal studies in the past 8 years to assess the feasibility of diversifying supply chains away from China, but all concluded that it was impossible, according to anonymous sources. The studies, conducted by the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade and the Treasury Department, concluded that no other markets could replace China as a market for Australian commodity exports. Despite obstacles such as the AUKUS Pact, Australia has continued its trade engagement with China. China is a major buyer of Australian iron ore, LNG, and agricultural products. Scientists stunned by planet's record September heat. The Guardian. Global temperatures reached a new record high in September, surpassing the previous record by a wide margin. This comes after the hottest August and hottest July ever recorded. The high temperatures have led to heat waves and wildfires around the world. The increase in temperatures is attributed to high levels of carbon dioxide emissions and a shift from La Niña to El Niño conditions in the Pacific Ocean. Scientists warn that unless there is a dramatic increase in climate action, events like these could become the norm within a decade. 3 Philadelphia officers injured in shooting after dispute about video game, police say. Suspect dead. The Toronto Star. 3 Philadelphia police officers were wounded in a shootout while responding to a dispute about a video game at a residence. The suspect was killed, and the officers are in stable condition. A 12-year-old boy called the police after his father shot his uncle during an argument about the game. The father opened fire on the police when they arrived, resulting in his death. The uncle is in critical condition. UK warns of Russia laying sea mines to deter Black Sea cargo ships. Al Jazeera. The UK has warned that Russia may use sea mines to deter civilian shipping in the Black Sea, including by laying them on the approach to Ukrainian ports. Ukraine's navy has said that 12 cargo vessels are ready to enter a Black Sea shipping corridor on their way to Ukrainian ports, in defiance of a de facto Russian blockade of the country's seaports. The UK has accused Russia of attempting to attack a civilian cargo ship in the Black Sea in August and has said it is monitoring Russian activity in the region. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Dr. Six, your guide through the realms of news and information. Today, we've taken a trip around the world, exploring various topics that are shaping our societies. From education to religion, from mortgages to climate change, and from video games to international conflicts, we've covered a vast range of subjects. So, let's dive into the depths of analysis and share some insights. First, we discuss the Disability Royal Commission's call for greater inclusion of students with disabilities in mainstream schools in Australia. While the intention is noble, the reality is that not all schools are willing or able to accommodate these students. The education system's culture of choice and competition, with enrollment barriers in many schools, prevents the full inclusion of students with disabilities. It's important for society to recognize the value and potential of every student, regardless of their abilities, and work towards creating a more inclusive educational environment. Next, we explored the surge in homelessness in Canada due to skyrocketing rents and housing prices. Tens of thousands of people are being priced out of the rental and real estate markets, and the issue is spreading from major cities to small towns. This alarming trend highlights the urgent need for affordable housing solutions and comprehensive support for those experiencing homelessness. It's a reminder that the housing crisis is not just a local problem, but a global issue that requires attention and action. Then, we delved into the rise of the Nones in America, a diverse group of people who claim no religious affiliation. They span various demographics and have different relationships with belief and non-belief. However, a common trait among them is a dislike of organized religion and its leaders, politics, and social stances. While the nones may be losing sources of communal support by pulling away from congregations, they are finding community and support elsewhere. This trend has significant implications for the future of religious practice and belief in the United States. Moving on, we examined the dilemma of becoming a workplace lifer. The letter writer expressed concerns about becoming too specialized in their current role and wondered when it's time to broaden their horizons. They have authority and autonomy in their job but worry that their skills may not be applicable elsewhere. This is a common dilemma many professionals face, and it's important to strike a balance between expertise and adaptability. Knowing when to explore new opportunities and expand one's skill set is crucial for personal and professional growth. Shifting our focus to Europe, we analyzed the vulnerability of mortgage holders to higher interest rates. The UK is among the most exposed, with a high number of short-term fixed-rate deals set to expire. In contrast, countries like France and Italy have greater protection from rising rates due to different mortgage structures. Understanding the dynamics of mortgage markets is essential for individuals and policymakers to navigate the potential risks and make informed decisions. In the realm of the U.S. economy, we discovered a shift in the financial market consensus away from a soft landing. Rising interest rates, oil prices, and the strength of the dollar pose threats to the U.S. economy and global financial stability. The risk of higher inflation and more costly financing looms, emphasizing the need for prudent policy decisions and careful monitoring of economic indicators. Turning our attention to international relations, we learned that Australia has conducted internal studies on diversifying supply chains away from China but concluded that it's impossible. Despite obstacles and tensions, Australia continues its trade engagement with China, highlighting the complex dynamics at play in global trade relationships. Lastly, we were stunned by the record-high global temperatures in September, along with heat waves and wildfires around the world. This serves as a stark reminder of the urgent need for climate action. Unless we take bold steps to address carbon emissions and mitigate the effects of climate change, events like these may become the new normal sooner than we think. So, my dear viewers, these are the stories that have captured our attention today. They reflect the diverse and interconnected nature of our world. But what are your thoughts? How do you see these issues impacting your life and your community? I welcome your participation in the discussion and look forward to hearing your ideas. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and keep exploring the ever-changing landscapes of our 6-degree world. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.